This year's NBA draft has more forward and center prospects than we've seen in a while. So in this video, I'm ranking the 15 best frontcourt players in my opinion. And make sure to tell me your rankings in the comments and let's get right into the video. Starting off with the 15th best frontcourt prospect, I have Jalen Williams taking this place. Williams stands at 6'10" and played the center position for Arkansas this past season, where he averaged 11 points and 10 rebounds per game. He does a great job of doing a little bit of everything to impact the game. He's a good defender and he moves well for a center, which leads to contested shots and blocks around the rim. On offense, he isn't the most reliable scorer, but he does have polished post moves and works well in pick and roll situations. In the draft, I think he'll be selected in the early to mid second round because he has potential to be a do-it-all kind of NBA player. At the 14th best, I have Christian Coloca, who also plays a center position, and he stands at 7'1". In college for Arizona, he averaged 13 points and 7 rebounds per game. Starting off with his defense, he's an elite rim protector, and he averaged almost 3 blocks a game in college. This helped him win Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year, and having a 7'5" wingspan and good bounce definitely helped out as well. On offense, he's a threat under the hoop on post-up moves and alley-oops, and although his range isn't too far, he did shoot well from the free throw line in college, which suggests that he could develop as a better shooter in the future. And with that being said, I think he'll be selected anywhere from the 25 to 35 range in the NBA draft. Khalifa Diop takes the spot for the 13th best in my opinion. For Gran Canaria, the 6'11" center averaged 7 points per game in only 16 minutes of playing time. Now, even though these stats aren't amazing, it's very impressive for a 20-year-old who's playing against some of the top players in Spain. Diop is strong and athletic and uses this to score near the basket. And he has some impressive go-to post moves, but most of the time he's up at the rim dunking. But from what I've seen watching him, the best part about his game is his mid-range shot. He shoots with good form and he rises up so no one is able to contest his shots. In the NBA, Diop will be a floor spacer for any team, and he'll most likely be drafted as a mid-second round pick. I have EJ Liddell as the 12th best frontcourt player in the draft. At 6'7", Liddell played the power forward position for Ohio State this past season, and he averaged 19 points and 8 rebounds per game. He has a super smooth game and excels on offense by shooting mid-range shots and using his strength to body in the paint. The main problem with him as a prospect though is he isn't too tall or athletic for his position in the NBA, but he is one of the most skilled players in this year's draft. So as of right now, he's predicted a mid to late first round selection. At the 11th spot, I'm going with Tari Eason. He also is a power forward and stands at 6'8". Playing for LSU, he averaged 17 points and 6 rebounds per game, and he shot up draft boards this year because of his versatility as a player. He has the potential to be an elite defender at the next level because he's a great athlete at his size, and he moves very well for a forward. He isn't much of an offensive threat behind the arc yet, but he is able to use his athleticism to score in the paint. And he's also shown improvement over the years on his shot, which suggests that he has the ability to become a capable shooter. In all, he's a great prospect, and I think he'll be selected in the lottery. The 10th best frontcourt prospect in my opinion is Nikola Jovic. He plays the small forward position, but at 6'10" he has the size to play the 4 as well, so I'm including him in this list. While playing in the ABA, he averaged 12 points and 4 assists per game. And Jovic's game is very impressive because he has mastered his shooting, finishing, and dribbling, all while being the tallest at his position. But the most impressive strength in his game would have to be his playmaking ability because you don't see many players playing the 3 spot with this kind of vision. His draft stock is unique because in mocks he can be found anywhere from the 10th spot to the late 20s. But I think he'll be picked around the 15 range, and he has a great career ahead of him. Moving on to number 9, Walker Kessler takes this spot. Kessler is 7'1" and averaged 11 points and 8 rebounds at the center spot for Auburn this past year. The main strength in his game is his presence as a rim protector. He averaged 4.6 blocks per game in college, which was by far the most by any player. But the problem with his defense is when he switches onto guards on the perimeter, he isn't the quickest and is liable to being blown by for an open layup or a step back shot. With that being said, in the draft I think he'll end up landing around the 20 to the 25th pick. Next, I have Mark Williams as the 8th best frontcourt player. Williams plays the center position at 7 feet tall, and at Duke he averaged 11 points and 7 rebounds per game. He plays a perfect medium between an old school playstyle and a modern game. His athleticism is a huge strength to his game, and having the bounce he does at 7 feet tall makes the game much simpler for him. Duke used him a lot in pick and rolls and as a lob threat, which is a big part of NBA offenses today. And because he excels in these situations, he'll most likely land around the 15th pick. Ousmane Dieng is another player that has shot up draft boards this year, and I have him as the 7th best out of the big prospects. He averaged 9 points and 3 rebounds for the New Zealand Breakers of the NBL, and he plays the 4 spot, standing at 6'10". His strengths are very much like Nikola Jovic that I had at the 10th best, because they both finish well at the rim, are good ball handlers, and Dieng is improving as a shooter to add to already being a super well-rounded player. But the reason I have Dieng over Jovic is because his athleticism is superior and his bounce really showcases this. And a couple months ago, Dieng was considered a late first round pick, but he's now thought of as a top 10 selection. The 6th best is Jeremy Sohan from Baylor. He also is a power forward and stands at 6'9", and in college this year he averaged 9 points and 6 rebounds per game. Sohan has mostly been seen as a top pick for his potential and versatility as an all-around player. Defense-first forwards are often sought after because of their ability to guard every position on the court. For this same reason is why many believe Sohan is a top 10 pick as well. And he really doesn't have any big weaknesses either, but a minor concern is he wasn't a great scorer on the college level, and it only gets harder in the NBA. At the 5th best is Jalen Duren. The 6'11" center played at Memphis and averaged 12 points and 8 rebounds per game. And I have Duren as a top-ranked center in my draft because of how well he uses his athleticism on the court. His game reminds me of Hakeem Olajuwon because he always makes his presence around the rim known. On lobs, putbacks, and even while playing bully ball, he's always up at the rim. If a team needed a center in the top 5, he'd be the one, but none of them do, so I think he'll drop to about the 7 to 10 range. I have Keegan Murray at 4, but I'm not completely sold on his game yet. He stands at 6'8" while playing the power forward position, and he averaged 24 points and 9 rebounds at Iowa this last season. But although his stats are insane, the reason I don't know if he'll fit in the NBA is because he plays very slow. His first step isn't quick, and he can often be blown by on defense because of this. So he'll need to work on this weakness, but there is a reason I have him at the number 4 spot, and it's because he can score with the best of anyone. His mid-range shot, 3-point shot, and game in the paint is top tier, and I have no doubt he'll get buckets in the league. With that being said, he'll most likely be picked either 4th or 5th in the draft, and he has a bright career ahead of him if he can increase his speed. The 3rd best frontcourt prospect in the draft is Chet Holmgren. Holmgren stands at 7 feet tall, and he averaged 14 points and 10 rebounds at Gonzaga in college. He's a phenomenal rim defender on defense, and on offense he has guard skills while being one of the tallest players in the draft. From 3 this year he shot almost 40%, but I think the most impressive part of his game is his ball handling. Most prospects at his height are a liability when handling the ball, but instead he's amazing with the ball in his hands, and he's able to create plays for himself and his teammates. And I have Chet as the 3rd best frontcourt prospect because I don't think he's better than the top 2, but I do think he'll be selected by the OKC with the 2nd pick. They seem to be very interested in him and his future potential, which makes perfect sense because his playstyle is so different than most. Jabari Smith I have as the 2nd best. He also plays the power forward position at 6'10", and he averaged 17 points and 7 rebounds for Auburn. The main things that Smith does well is his defense and his ability to spread the court out by his shooting. On defense, he moves quickly, which helps him stick with guards, and he can also contest shots well around the rim using his athleticism. And saying he can shoot the 3 ball is an understatement because even at his size, he might be the best shooter in this year's draft. He shot 42% from 3 on about 5 attempts per game, which is unbelievable for a forward at the college level. And similar to what I said about Chet, I think Smith is the 2nd best out of the forwards, but I do believe he'll go as the number 1 pick. Even though I have someone else as the number 1 forward, Orlando is really interested in Jabari and he would be a great addition to the team. And at the number 1, you probably guessed it, I have Paulo Banchero taking this place. Some may disagree with this, but I just think he's the most well-rounded out of the top 3 players, and he's the best option as of now. At Duke, he averaged 17 points and 8 rebounds and really shined during their tournament run while putting up 19 points and 7 rebounds and leading them to the Final Four. Paulo is athletic and has the upside to be an elite defender, but he's also so skilled on offense. He can shoot from anywhere on the court, he's great at getting to his spots, and he has shown flashes of being a playmaker for the team. Overall, he's a top forward in my opinion, and I think Orlando should take him with the number 1 pick, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if he fell to number 3. Well, that'll do it for this video. Like I said before, make sure to leave a comment and tell me what your rankings are. And thanks for watching. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.